comment on oneness. A peaceful mind equals a peaceful reality. So I just want y'all to know that I hope you are taking care of yourselves, family. I hope you are working out, and I hope you are trying to step in this light right here, which is, like I say, the sky ball. If you choose to take your energy, to let it absorb through your body and heal you, not everybody will, but it's power when you do, family. So in this video, we're gonna talk about, why you become a hidden gem, or you're like a gnome statue, We're defined as statues for the one who are partaking in this journey. You're a statue that's stated to yourself, man, but you're a statue on how people look at you or view you, because you bring bliss, you bring positivity and good luck by just stepping around others, who might need that energy to uplift them, right? But I tell you that, you become despised, or you become somebody of true caliber when you are alone, because people crave, like I say, someone that feels like them, because they attract what they are, right? So let me state why you become that way. You become a person that is silent, because it's not that people they can't hang with you or they don't want to. It's just you irritate those inner demons that they haven't cleansed themselves from, and that's facts. That's factuals, man. Someone who works on themselves, will tell you this, no matter who it is, because they will get that sense, within, like I say, their inner self, or just their gut feeling, or just whatever they like to go off, their intuition, right? And people won't necessarily be able to stand with you in that way, form or fashion, because they might not be healed like you. So that's why I say, man, your inner confidence, let's just say you are a confident being, but you gain inner confidence because now you start seeing what life truly is, because you were shown with that view, right? People might feel like intimidated by that, or they might not like you just for that reason, because they can't comprehend why the fuck they're not that way. But see you stepping out of a box that they're in. They don't want to be in that box, but they don't know how to get out of it, or they choose to stay there, right? And that's because a lot of people don't want to put the work in. They don't want to do the work, y'all, because the work, it bothers them, or their ego, But you must want to get out the box, y'all. If you stay in that box all day, well, they're limiting yourself, family, And you don't ever want to limitate yourself, family. You want to get the bag, right? But you want to have a clear mind. A clear mind will help you get everything, They'll help you be aware, right? Your workouts will be perfection. And you won't be worried about people, Because people, they'll hold you back, But people are going to try to figure you out, or they're going to try to figure out why you're so quiet, right? But it's not that you're being quiet, y'all. It's just you have nothing to say, You're just simply happily with just living, y'all. That's how peaceful you become. Once you just live with peace and not, like I say, other people's problems. Because you can't carry everybody else's bag, y'all. Everybody has a bag of filth. But you have the power to cleanse it and keep that bitch clean, If you look to be clean around yourself, well then you are truly clean within, y'all, because somebody who doesn't like themselves or doesn't truly love what they are and what they are, they'll show around their reality, y'all. Like I said, they'll be attracting bullshit, or they'll just be around clutterness, And that's because that's how they see themselves from within, y'all. But to be a statue, y'all, is to stand, is to still be and to act on what you want to do, knowing that, yeah, they gonna judge, yeah, they gonna look at me, but I don't give a fuck, you know. I don't care what anybody says, you know, because you ain't gonna say it to my face. And if you do, I mean, that just shows me who you really are, because I won't even have to react, you know, because those demons, you know, they're grabbing onto your consciousness. And my light, y'all, is reflecting what is truth, because what you are will come to the light, man. Once, you know, you're around a life of being like myself or others around, you know. I'm not the only chosen one. There's many. But you will have them intimidated with you, family, because you're not like nobody. You just stand in your own, like I say, force field, and you act on what you see is to be, you know. You have captain level spiritual pressure, or you know, even greater, because every captain has their own characteristics, has their own power, sees things their own way. That's what you should be. Someone who sees life differently. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to others and what the fuck they are doing, y'all, because there's no benefits, you know. The goal is to, you know, bring your power down here and to act on it, because you will become useful to this world, man. Nobody will be like you, and they could mock you, judge you, or mimic you, but it will always fail, family, because then again, they're not you, you know. So I say this: just focus on yourself, man, and not worry about it, because it's only gonna cause problems, or it's gonna hold you back. Purpose-wise, you know, purpose-wise, everybody wants their purpose. Or if you don't act on it, I know you question, like, what the fuck did I come down here to do? Because if you don't even question that right there, well, then you're living like a fucking zombie, you know, because you're not worrying about what you gotta do. You know, when I first stepped down here into this globe, y'all, I always question myself what I want to be. And not only what I want to be, but how can I see myself getting there, you know? Like everybody says, you must have connections, or you must know people. But also, you can take this other route, which is like a path where you're in the country with it, because now you're forcing everybody to feel and hear what you gotta say. And you're not pushing it on their asses. You're not sending it to no one. You're just living and acting and showing these fucking, you know, YouTubers or just anybody who wants to tap in, because, you know, they're going to tap in whether they find you, like I said, someone that they can learn from, or they just want to watch you because they want to figure out how they can glow like you, you know. But the glow is only gained when you're, you know, to yourself, man, and you go into that darkness to get the glow, you know. But you must go into the dark, the void, or you must be something, y'all, or they're gonna watch your ass every time, you know. I say never give a fuck about what anyone says, though, because shit, fuck what they on. If they see something in you that they don't like, step out here and only make them matter, or only make them feel like they ain't shit, because they want to be you so bad, they'll never be that, you know. They can only be themselves, y'all. And that's what I tell y'all. You shouldn't feel sorry for how other people are treating you, or if they don't fuck with you. They lost you didn't lose them. They lost someone who would have went to war with them, who would have died for them, or they would have lost someone who would have, like I say, been there by their side to aid them on whatever it is that they might be going through, whether they feel like they want a leader, or they just want someone to, like I say, help them in ways that not everybody else could, you know. Everybody in this world, their mind is shallow, you know, because they take the easy way out. But you, if you're watching me, y'all, you will care about your purpose, man. You care about how, you know, you act in this life, man, because if this is your only life where you remember everything that I'm telling y'all now, family, well, you're gonna want to do something with this intellect, man. You know, people will charge you for shit like this that I'm telling y'all, but I'm just throwing this shit out like it's water on a water park, because, you know, I want to hurt the ones that don't like this message in a way to where they try to change, or they get the fuck away from me, because, you know, once you start loving yourself, you will attract that, you know. That's why I say, man, you don't have to talk to nobody. You don't have to be around bitches in the mall. You don't have to go to no fucking club to feel like you're alone. You're gonna be alone. We were born alone, you know. You will leave that way alone. So instead of worrying about who cares or who's seeing you or who's not, just get your mind right first. Make sure you are situated any way possible, because when the one that comes into your life that's for you, y'all, she might not stay with you if you ain't, taking time out yourself to be something, be great. All I can say is be great. Be the statue you came down here to be, which is to inspire them. Show them that they can do it too. As long as you keep doing it every fucking day and you don't lack, you don't, do anything that's gonna make you feel like you're less than, But for the people who watch this video and they want to know, why you become in a way intimidated or pushed to the side, y'all, because let's just say you have friends that are guys. We all had friends in high school, man. We still do. It's just we don't talk much because everybody has their own purpose, But let's just say you lost people that you once had a close, like I say, bond with. Well, they probably didn't. They probably either jealous you, or they probably just couldn't take, like I say, being around your presence, man, because it makes them feel like what the fuck are they doing? And nobody likes that, because in this world, most people want to do is compare and contrast themselves to other beings, and that's why it couldn't hold on, because people want to compare themselves to everybody else, or they'll get jealous, or they'll feel down if you are up and they are down, because they can't look at it like motivation or inspiration like how I do. Instead, they're gonna talk down about you in the silence, or they're gonna worry and stalk you because they ain't like you, but they're jealous what you have and what they don't, So that's why I tell you, it was never you, it was them, because if they really loved them and really was true to them, y'all, well, you would know, because they still be in your life, they still be here, family. So that's what I say. You just relax, enjoy the show, and still act with humbleness. Just because you have so much energy, y'all, it doesn't mean you have to fucking, prove it, showboat in front of everybody. Hell no. Be yourself, because it's gonna intrigue them even more. Most people in this world like talking, but if you don't talk, or you ain't got shit to say because you don't care, what's gonna make make them motherfuckers feel like, damn, why don't you talk? And then they're gonna try to read you, right? But they won't be able to read you, because they're not you. You know what I'm saying? They're not you at all. The only thing that they are doing, y'all, is holding themselves back by worrying about someone else. Everybody who's listening to me, y'all should do something that's gonna inspire somebody else, or make them, like I say, look down on you, because they're still giving you energy and they're still watching you. Now for the women, let's just say you lost a lot of women, like myself, y'all, someone who has had many in the past. Not saying, relationship wise, but I know how to talk, and you should too if you're just like me, y'all, in a way to where you know your energy, so you know who you are. Let's just say back then, y'all, it's easy to talk to women. It's not hard. Or let's just say it was easy to get women because of how you looked physically, right? Well, women are not gonna like you either for the fact that they can't control you. They know that you're a masculine person. They know that you're what you should be, which is, like I say, every man should be masculine in this world. You don't have to like it, but you will take this truth, man. Depending on what you do with it. Every man should be masculine. You shouldn't be fucking trying to be a girl, and a girl shouldn't be trying to be a guy, because God put you down here to be yourself, man, and to be what the fuck you was down here with, But just think of it like this: they did you a favor by walking out, because they didn't have the patience or the energy to put in the work like you. That means they weren't really dedicated. They weren't really for the long run. Like I say, they were short-term players, and their asses, like I say, they got off the team because they couldn't handle, adversity. They can't handle that shit, man, because then they would have to take accountability. Most women don't want to take accountability because they always want to be right. You know, that's that fucking ego that makes them feel that way. Because a lot of people want to say that women are this and that, or you're giving too much praise to these women. And there's nothing wrong with praising a woman. You just want to praise her because you see her for who she is. You know, you're not thinking with a lustful mind. So you want to admire her and try to let her know, like shit, what it really is. You know, not everybody's gonna have a masculine frame. Most people want to hit you, and then, like I said, want to throw you to the fucking dip. You know, and some women like that shit because, like I say, they have demons on them. And so be it. That's their life. You know, just know that they did you a favor by leaving you, or they leaving your side because you're too much to handle anyway. You know, they don't like how they can't control you. That they won't like how, you're gonna tell them things that they might not like, which is, you can't fuck with nobody, or you just can't be doing certain shit that I don't like doing, because women don't want to be controlled, especially if they have an ego, knowing that everybody's gonna tell them something different, because it's what it is. But your power as a man is to, if they was to ever get around your presence, man, you could shatter their fucking ass. You shatter their ego by being yourself, man, and by stepping out with that purity, which is that full light you have. If you're on a high vibration, you step out, you're gonna shatter their fucking ass, man, and that ego, because they're gonna look at you and question themselves, or they're just gonna look at you and try to figure you out, but they won't be able to, because they can't perceive on why the hell you're this way and they're not, with intuition in a way to make them feel like, your confidence, it might, make them feel less than, because, most men in this world, y'all don't have confidence no more. Everybody wants you to be comfortable. You're never supposed to be comfortable, man, and unless you are going to sleep. But that's why I say, family, it was never you. It was always them, and life shows you that by them walking away, because you stood your ground. You stood on 10 always, and you didn't let what any problem came, like I said, over neglect you. You found a way on how to step aside or to let it ignite your soul, man, because if it burns you, what's making your ass stronger, People don't see it like that, though. They see that shit that is too much for them to handle, so they're gonna walk away and let that little ego get another boost by someone else's attention. People live on attention, y'all. They don't love themselves enough to just love what the fuck they gotta get done, because if they truly did, everybody would be acting with purpose in this world instead of watching entertainment. You'd rather be entertained than be the one entertaining you, because you won't get nowhere just doing that shit, And if you want a woman to respect you, she's not. Even if they walk away, they will respect you, knowing that you ain't forcing shit upon them, and you ain't warned about it. That's them. That's their ill, And it will always haunt them later, because people don't see it people don't realize what they lost till after they lost it, man. And that's just, that's some bizarre ass shit, or it's mind blowing. But it's also, like I say, a change, or it's just a brain gainer, because now, since you ain't got nobody to latch onto, they gotta do it on their own, or they will suffer, like I said, with the crowd, because they want to be with the crowd. The crowd will always suffer, because once people start, like I say, falling back or falling away, well, the crowd starts to combust, man, because if there's nobody there, y'all, ain't nobody gonna be there by themselves, y'all. So I'm saying, instead of relying on other beings, y'all, rely on that energy you was given by starting to love it. People can't do that, y'all, because it's too much to handle. The energy ain't easy to hold. For me, it is, because I'm not worrying about it. I'm simply just living on what the fuck I came down here as, straight organically. And that's why I say, you are the statue, man. You are the statue that's applauded with. You don't have to have someone clap for you, but if they stare at your ass all day, or if they want to just, in a way be like you, which have this light, or they want to just be stoic and shit, it's only gonna happen, y'all, if you love yourself enough to stop worrying about other people. because it's not about this day, it's about over the days that you do this, you know. So that's why they look at you funny, or not necessarily funny, but they fear your ass, man. They fear you. Straight up, they are scared of you, man, because you are no longer that person you once was. They fear the control you will have over them. They fear what they are, and it might, if you already get to know them, you might not like their asses, you know. So that's why they fear you, because a true masculine person, y'all, is not gonna be controlled. You're gonna do what he wants and live in a peaceful manner, because you can't control someone that has found themselves, man. The only thing you can do is hold yourself back by worrying about what he's doing or what she's doing, you know. So for true feminized women out there, it goes hand in hand, y'all, because let's just say you're a true feminized girl, lady, queen, but you're gonna have men trying to throw shots at you, and it's gonna over drain you because you get that shit so much anyway, y'all. But it's gonna make you feel like you're not gonna respect him because he's not in his true frame, you know. So you're gonna look at him like a kid. You might use him to get shit that you need, you know. And that's what women mostly do, y'all. Not because they don't want to, but because you are offering y'all everything you have to them, y'all, when you should simply be existing. You know, I could break this shit down in so many different layers, levels, or ways, because I have been through it all, you know. It's not about the physical appearance that I'm after. Yes, I admire a pretty girl, but you know, you want to have a spirit that's pure, man. You want to have a spirit that is glowing. You want to be lighting up the fucking room when you step in it, because that's how you attract others to you, you know? Because that's when you find peace, knowing that you have this. So you start loving yourself within, you know? If you are dead on the outside, y'all, well, everything you do is going to seem like you ain't fully enjoying it to your highest potential, because you don't know what other peace there is, you know, around you, when the peace is simply in you, not outside of you, you know? That's why people might feel good being around me, because I give off that inner peace. Because you will feel my aura if you're around me, y'all. You will feel it just thinking about me, because that's how much energy I have, you know. But that's why, you know, people fell out your life, man. It was never about you being ugly or you just feeling like you did something wrong. You didn't do nothing wrong, man. They're intimidated real heavy, you know. You scare them, man, without trying to, because you are being somebody that not everybody else is. And it's not that you're being somebody, you know who you are, so you just don't give a fuck no more, you know, because you've been through too much pain already to make someone else feel like they can hold you down. Nah, you can't hold me down, because you don't know what I've been through. So that's the reason why I step out every day, knowing that shit, it is what it is. I don't care, you know. You might be afraid of me, not saying you necessarily, but I'm saying, for example, someone might be afraid of you on this camera who's watching me, but you shouldn't let what they got going on defy you, man, because everybody's their own player in this game we live in, you know. It's just knowing that I must step regardless, or watch the world slowly crumble me away to become invisible. You don't want to be invisible, yo. Women want to say that, you know, don't even take women's, you know, someone, I'm not even going to say all women, but as a man, you should listen to another man's perspective on women. You know, it's okay to listen to some women, but listen to a man before you listen to a woman on advice, because not all women are the same, man. And if a true masculine person is giving you energy, y'all, or intellect, well, he's been through it. He knows how this game works. So he's just trying to keep your head high so you don't fall off the swivel, you know? Always trust the true masculine man before anything, because he has seen everything. And that's why he's masculine now, y'all, because he got tired of that fucking pleasure that didn't get him nowhere, you know? So, you know, the more you leave pleasure in the past, the more enlightenment you'll gain. And that's why no one can fuck with anybody who has enlightenment, y'all. You know? You know, Momo, she loved Isaac, man. She wanted to die for him, because that's how much of an impact he made on her, knowing that he was standing in his true frame. He was a dick, not trying to be, but that's just who he came off as, because the energy he had to show him that he just didn't care about life in general, y'all. He just wanted to elevate and climb up to the top of the charts, y'all. Well, she liked him because he didn't look at her in a lustful way. Not only that, but he didn't give a fuck about if he was, helping her or not, y'all. She came to him. They loved him because it wasn't worried about no woman, y'all. He wanted power, y'all. And power is simply the enlightenment you get. Because the more power you get, the more lonely you become. So that's what impacts someone to just step. Because you're not worrying about nobody no more. They can't tell you what it is life truly is, y'all, because you've seen too much already. And the more someone sees, the more lonely they begin to start to feel, because not everybody's gonna agree with you, because they don't see life like you. They don't even have the energy to feel things like you. So, like I say, it will never work. And there's nothing around that right there. That's just the polarity of how the universe works, y'all. So you must realize that all that shit is to show you that that's just what it is. Life, man. It's gonna break you down to rebuild you if you let it. But not everybody wants to take that road, man, because it's a lonely journey, y'all. Everybody doesn't like to be alone. People love to, fuck with others. Not saying that that's a problem, but you become a true scientist and an even better teacher at knowing things around you when you just listen to who you are and what you gotta be, Because I know everybody wants to be something deep down within their soul. It's just they don't have that energy to pull it out of them to act, because they are worried about others and how they might feel knowing that someone might talk about them. But I don't care, because I don't even talk to many people, I'm a true loner. And that's even better to say, because you gain more awareness. You have all that energy within you to keep you, like I say, functionable. And everything that's within you, y'all, is keeping you truly living. So it's not a loss. It's a W, because God showed me who was real and who was, unreal, So it makes you feel like, it makes you think like, damn, these motherfuckers were never real. Not in a sense to where they were fake, but they weren't real people. So I looked at them probably like as robots, or as people who are just, in this simulation to keep it going or keep the illusion up, because that's the frequency that they are emitting around me. So you can't help them. The only thing you do is, like I say, it's like you're having a fishing pole, and bait or fish that you don't want, you let it go because you ain't trying to catch that shit. That's not what you're here for. You weren't here for that. You were actually here to enjoy the times. They were here to create voyages and just blockades, but you just wanted to elevate, y'all, and they wanted to stand down, But that's what I say, man. You don't ever want to compare yourself to nobody, y'all, because not everybody will give you best interest at heart. I'm only here to remind you that you become your biggest motivator, y'all, when people start looking up to you, because now they're listening to what you gotta say. They admire your teachings. They admire how you get on the camera and be something which is only you can be. That's what people love about you, man. They don't give a fuck that you don't, stop, because they don't want you to stop anyway. Most people do, but you're not stopping and showing that you don't give a fuck, because you're not worrying about no one. You came down here to be, to live, and to just step over next, man, because stepping over next gets you one step closer to everything you ever wanted, man. If the world is yours, why not slowly take it back, And this is one of the realest quotes you will ever hear, man, because it irritates demons. We live in a spiritual world that seems physical, but everything is based upon your spirit, man, because that is what you will endure yourself with, And that's just some real ass shit I dropped. This was the video of knowing what it truly means to feel alone as a statue that you are, man. Because you will impact someone, you will inspire many, and you will be talked about by many because they don't see life like you, but they want to be just like you, though, And I'm literally showing y'all, giving y'all the key of life on how to be, not like me, but someone of a higher caliber. You want to be like a fucking sniper, boom. Instead of, putting yourself out and trying to show everybody what the fuck it is that you have to offer, man. Because And, you know, as someone like myself, you feel like you don't got to do all that. It's pointless. You know, if they step or try to, well, I'm going to step over or step harder, you know, because I don't want no one to see what I have in my, like I say, my bag, my luggage, or just what it is that I got going on in my life, because it doesn't concern them, you know. People are nosy that way, you know, when they should be trying to help you, but they ain't. So that's why I say, family, love yourself, man, and you will have a glow. You will have a bright fucking light that defines you. You know what I'm saying? I could look and I could still have a glow. You know why, family? Because God seen that you are worth the glow, you know. And so I hope you are too, whoever's watching me, you know. A woman could be glowing even brighter than myself, y'all, if she truly sticks to what she desires, which is loving her and not giving her body to nobody until she feels the right one that's came into her life for you, you know. And that's what life was, man, and it will always be that. And y'all will always get talked about, talked on, or just, you know, too lonely, because you start to love being alone once you've been that way for so long, because all the energy is going to stay in you. But that's what it truly means to be a statue and to be someone that's pushed aside, knowing that they set you free, man, you know, while they're burning in that forest, man, worrying about what the fuck they need for survival. You are just surviving, knowing that everything's gonna flow to me. But I'll see you on the next video, man. Y'all keep y'all heads right and y'all stay on track, man.